Hello and welcome back to this part 2 of the CMS Filter video. So in this video I'll focus specifically on the styling of these radio buttons. And if you are looking for the technical setup, that's the other video. Okay, in our Webflow project we have a form block which is supposed to wrap all of our filter elements, and right now there's nothing, but we can add a radio button here from the quick menu. And when we do that, we get these three elements. We get the radio button field and we get the radio button. That's the dot. Usually I don't use that in this kind of filters buttons, so I'm gonna just put a hide class on that one. And then we have the radio button label, and that's the one. For now I'm just gonna call it all. Yeah, that's usually the one that dictates what filter is active. So that's also the one that would have the FinSuite attribute. What we want to focus on in this video is the styling. So that's what we do on the radio button field element. And I'm gonna make a class, I'm gonna call it radio filter. Let's first of all change the default padding. I'm gonna put 1 rem, hit Option Shift Enter to put it on all 4 sides. But the vertical padding I want to be a bit less, so I'm gonna hold Option and click 0.25, and then we have a nice padding around that. And I'm gonna just set the margin bottom to 0 so we don't have extra margin in the bottom. And I want to add a border on the sides. I'm gonna just put 1 pixel and use white for that. And also put a radius here. I'm just gonna put 1 rem. I think I prefer the border to be a bit less, so I'm gonna put 20 opacity. So it's faded like that. I'm just gonna make a few more. Now we have a decent default state, but I want to make the text into the accent color. So right now it's just orange, and let's actually jump into the variable setup in this project. Here I have a very simple variable setup, the background color and the text color, and then the accent color. For this video specifically, the accent color is the most important one. That's the one we want to change from the CMS. So each of the filters that are dynamically loaded will have their unique color, which is defined in the CMS collection here. Now we have the default state. Let's add the hover state. So we go over here and add a hover state. And for the hover state, I want to turn the border color to the accent color, so it takes that color. I also want to change the background color of the buttons, and I want it to be the accent color. But of course, then we can't see the text. It would be nice to have the accent color, but with 15 or 20% opacity. And we can do that with something called color mix, and that's something we can add with the custom attributes. So we want to define the background color, and I want it to be color mix, and I want it to be in sRGB. And the first color I want to mix is the accent color. That's a variable. And the second color I want to mix is transparent. And I want to put 85% transparent. Okay, so here we see that we get the accent color, but it's not fully opaque, which is very cool. The color mix is a relatively new CSS attribute, so it has 88% coverage right now, which is okay, but some people may not see it. At least we're also changing the border color, so they will still get some kind of feedback. Okay, that was the hover state. And let's also just put transitions, and I'm just gonna use all because I'm a bit lazy right now, and say 400 milliseconds. So now we want to make the active state. With FinSuite CMS filtering, active state is a combo class that's added to this element. So let's add a combo class, and it should be called fs-cms filter _ active. So that's the name. You can find it in the FinSuite documentation. Then we can style this to define how it should look when it is active. One thing I want to do here is now I actually want to put just the full accent color as the background, and then the text color, I'm gonna make that white, and also gonna put just a little bit of text shadow so you can see the text. And the border, I also want to up that just a little bit from 20 to 40%. Okay, so we have a bit more border. And now let's add some of that depth feeling. And we're gonna do that by stacking multiple box shadows on top of each other. First, I want to add the inside box shadow. This one I want to use white, and I want it to be 10 pixels blurred, 3 pixels down, and then -3 pixels in size. So it's a bit more soft. Then the second box shadow, I want that to be at a similar level of blur. I want it to use the accent color. And I also want it a bit down, 3 pixels down. And I also want it to be a bit smaller, so -3 pixels in the size. And then the last box shadow we put is also the accent color. This one I want to be even more blurred, so I just go for something like 30. Also move it down and make it smaller. Okay, so those 3 shadows stacked on top of each other looks like this, which is a very, very nice look for what we're going for. Let me just actually delete these 2. We want some more filter buttons that are generated from the CMS, so let's add a collection list for that. In here, and that's the themes collection, like that. And I'm gonna copy the radio filter that we already made and paste it inside of here. I'm just gonna put a class on this one so they wrap in a better way. Okay, so now we have these extra buttons. I'm just gonna remove the active filters so it looks a bit more like how it will look when we load the page. Also connect the label to the actual value from the CMS so we can see that they are indeed different, these filters. What I want to do now is to change these so they have the unique color, because otherwise we are actually almost at the end. So inside of the collection item, I want to add an embed. And in this embed, I want to put a style tag. And in this style tag, I want to write some CSS. So we want it to be attribute based. So let's use the square brackets. We can call this data color. When the value of the data color attribute equals the name of the theme, that would be space, or air, earth, or water. Then I want to redefine the value of the accent color variable. The way we do that is we write the name of the variable. And then we can define here what the value of that should be. So I wanted to take the color value from the CMS. And then we can actually save this. And nothing happened yet because we haven't applied the attribute to the items yet. So we can do that down here. Add a custom attribute, data color. And we want the value to be the name. And then it changes dynamically. This is quite cool because we can, of course, change the text color with this options out here. But when we do it in this way, by redefining the actual variable, it just gives us some more flexibility in using it, for instance, with the color mix. Okay, now let's publish and preview how it looks. So as you can see here, we have the filters and they are working beautifully and changing between the different states with hover and the active state. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know more about this project, for instance, how we styled these cards, then let me know in the comments and we'll make this a 3-part tutorial about everything in this clonable. As always, you can find the links in the description, and thanks for watching and see you in the next one.